Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. The Ravens just finished up pretty much their final day of training camp. It's the last training camp that is open to reporters. They're going to be off tomorrow because they're traveling, and then they have a joint practice with the Green Bay Packers on Thursday, so there'll be a lot of information coming out from that, obviously, but practice is going to get pretty tight-lipped from here on out. And then we obviously have the preseason game this Saturday, the final preseason game, and then roster cuts need to be in by Tuesday. But let's dive into what was going on in the final day of training camp practice. We did have some key players return. Rasheen Ali, Devontez Walker, Josh Ross, and Eddie Jackson all returned to practice today. Devontez Walker had a day too. We'll get into that in a second. And then we did have some absences as well. Mark Andrews is still out. Tyler Linderbaum's still out. Patrick McCarry's out. Adisa Isaac's out. Arthur Millett's still out. And Marlon Humphrey. Now, Marlon Humphrey and McCarry, Harbaugh said they're completely fine. Probably just vet days, or maybe they have something really, really minor going on, but he downplayed that and said nothing's going on. Same with Mark Andrews, something super minor's going on. It is kind of weird that Harbaugh said he didn't have a scratch and he was completely fine after the accident, and then he hasn't practiced in like a week, but we're glad Mark's okay. I don't think that anything's lingering here. They're probably just playing it really safe. The only real injury update is Adisa Isaac. It's nothing serious, but he does have now a soft tissue injury on the other leg. Harbaugh said that he wouldn't be out as long as he was for the first hamstring injury, but this second one is here now, and he was out of practice today, and he's going to be dealing with that obviously for a week or so. Soft tissue injuries are very common to keep repeating themselves with guys who aren't really practicing a lot because they were sitting out for one injury, and then you come back and you end up hurting another muscle because you're not really in football shape. You're not in shape. You know, there's no way that you can get in football shape unless you're out there practicing and playing. So wishing him a speedy recovery, but he is dealing with another soft tissue injury. But let's hop back into Devontez Walker. Devontez Walker came back to practice today. You know, he's been battling a rib injury. He really hasn't had much momentum. I've called him wide receiver 5 or 6 a couple times in the last few weeks just because I feel like he has no momentum this year. He wasn't available. He wasn't making plays in camp. We haven't really seen him in the preseason. But that did shift a little bit today. He came back. He had a 50-yard touchdown. He was out there very active, had a couple other catches as well. Really nice to hear that Devontez Walker's out there making plays. Hopefully this continues into the joint practice on Thursday and then in the preseason game on Saturday. I think if he can continue this and make some plays in the practice and the game, then we can resume a conversation of Tez probably having some type of role this season. I definitely think as the years go, Devontez Walker's role becomes more and more important for the Ravens. I'm not like writing this dude off or anything. I was just concerned about his role this season with the lack of momentum in the offseason. And I still, at this point, don't think he's going to have some massive receiver role in this pass game, but it was really nice to hear that he's out there catching a 50-yard touchdown. He has scored in training camp before. We've seen that highlight. But now just looking for him to continue to stay healthy and make more and more plays as the time goes on, especially later this week. I think that joint practice and that final preseason game is going to be big for Devontez Walker to kind of just build some trust with coaches that, hey, like I can be available and make some key plays for us throughout this regular season. Because if not, I was thinking that they could potentially stash him or something. Same with Rasheen Ali, just because he was missing so much time and they just drafted these guys. You know, they're 4th and 5th round picks. Sometimes you stash those guys. You're like, oh, they're injured, you know, see you next year. And you create a roster spot, and you get to keep the player and not have to deal with the practice squad situation. And who knows, that still could be on the table for guys like that. But I just think it's really promising that Tez is out here catching a 50-yard touchdown his first day back at practice, and now he's got some important days coming up. So really glued in on Tez Walker, rooting for him. John Harbaugh spoke to the media today and really gave kind of a detailed talk about Daniel Faalele and his progression and his ability to play right guard.
Well, I mean, I think he's done a really good job in terms of pass protection. You know, he's been in front of his guy. There's a lot of technique things. His room for improvement is really vast because he's so talented and he's naturally able to do so many good things. And then I think when he takes the next step in terms of like just almost an urgency in the movement that comes with confidence, you're going to see a more physical player because the physicality is there. You know, he's big and he can move and he can bend. He's a powerful man, and he wants to be good. So I think the upside is pretty immense.
We've been talking about the offensive line a lot these past few weeks, and for good reason. Obviously, it's a very, very important position group that is kind of up in the air still. But based off just kind of reading the room and reading Harbaugh, it does seem like Faalele is the guy in the coach's mind. I'm trying to read from a distance, you know, but they're plugging him in at right guard all the time. He's the one playing in the preseason. He's the one with the starters, and Harbaugh is so complimentary of him like that. I just feel like they're trying to groom Faalele to be the right guard of the future, you know? And I do think that there is potential and upside there for sure. I'm still concerned about this season, especially early on in this season. There's no doubt about it. I don't know if this offensive line at this moment is ready to just go out there and dominate. But I do see what they're doing with the youth approach and then kind of molding these linemen with this new offense to block and play like they want them to. So I think that's the strategy here. That's why there's not vets being brought in and things like that. They're really trying to groom these offensive linemen to just play the way that they want to execute this offense at the highest level. So I think it'll get better and better. You know, since they're so young, it could be the worst that we're seeing at the moment. The start of the season could be the worst of it. And then as the time goes on, as the rest of the year goes on, as next year and the years go, I think this offensive line and these guys will just keep getting better and better and better the more time they get. So I'm hopeful, still nervous, no doubt about it, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. There's not much we can do, right? David Ojabo spoke to the media today, said he is 100%. Harbaugh was also very complimentary of him and just his mindset and his ability to prepare and just work each and every day and how well he played in that preseason game.
I was hoping I expect him to play like that, but to see it out there the very first game was really neat because he wasn't tentative at all. He's in a good mindset. He was in a game day mindset, and he hadn't played that much in the last couple of years. So that was quite a statement, I think, from him that way. Really, the way he's been practicing is the way he played. So that's what you want to see.
I thought that was an incredible first game back for a David Ojabo. Coming off all those injuries, this guy's battled a lot of injuries. I mean, coming out of college at the pro day with the Achilles and then the ACL. I mean, these are serious injuries to just start your career. And he's still out there battling. He still looks great. He looks explosive. He looks quick. Ojabo also credited Chuck Smith and how good of a teacher he is and how much knowledge he has to bring to this pass rush group and just elevate David Ojabo's game.
Chuck, man, that's the guru. You know, he really knows what he's talking about. You know, everything he says comes to light, you know, regarding just moves to use, when to use it, how to use it. And we're all just good listeners, honestly, you know, because, you know, we'll look over to him on the sideline, you know, in practice, and he'll really walk us through a move to do on the sideline. We execute it, ends up working, you know. So, you know, it's just a testament to him and his knowledge, and how he passes it down to all of us, and it's working, man. Kind of, like I said, having my brothers like Dafe and Beeks and, you know, Trav, like, I was living through them, you know. I couldn't do it myself, so I knew that when I came back, you know, I'm going to cherish every moment, you know. You really never know when it's going to be your last, you know. Testament to even Zio, our coordinator. You know, he just had the year of his life. You know, you never know when it's going to be your last snap, so just cherish every moment. You know, I'm in a very blessed position playing the NFL for one of the best organizations. So, every day I'm out here, man, just smiling through it and just making my best day.
And another thing that really stuck out from David Ojabo speaking today is just his mindset, man. I think he's got the perfect mindset to go through all the stuff that he has, all the adversity he has, and he's just happy to be there, man. He's just ready to go ball out and just seize the opportunity. You don't sense a lot of frustration or a lack of confidence. I think that he's worked his tail off to get to where he's at now, and I think he's ready to ball. So it's kind of a Bateman situation in a way. Ton of talent, ton of opportunity right in front of him. Can he stay healthy? Can he stay on the field? If both of those guys can stay on the field and just get a lot of game reps, the sky's the limit, man. I think they're just going to keep developing. They're going to keep getting better. These guys have not played a ton of football. But that's it for today, guys. Not a ton of highlights from today's practice, but they're flying to Green Bay tomorrow for that joint practice, like I said, and then on Saturdays, that preseason game. Roster cuts by Tuesday, practice squad filled out by next Wednesday. And man, the regular season is almost here. Ravens will kick off the NFL season against the Chiefs on September 5th. We're 16 days away. So can't wait, man. Can't wait to share it with you guys. It's going to be a hell of a ride towards that Lombardi this year. I appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.